everyone, welcome to Big Day of Giving 2020 orientation. We're really excited that you all are coming back this year, or if you're new, we're excited to have you join us. We have a lot of really exciting things in store this year. There are going to be a lot of changes, so just make sure that you're aware of that. Please note that in order to complete orientation, you do need to complete the quiz that will be linked both in the follow-up email from this video as well as on the website where you found the sign up for this online orientation. So make sure that you complete that because that is required in order to successfully finish online orientation if you aren't going to an in-person orientation. It's only 10 questions, it's multiple choice, so it shouldn't take very long. We just want to make sure that everyone has the really important details that they need to know for Big Day of Giving going forward. Just to start us off, we wanted to thank our lead dog sponsor, Western Health Advantage. They're coming back again this year and we're super excited about it. So make sure that you let them know that you really appreciate the work that they're doing. So just looking at the agenda for what we're going to be talking about today, we're going to go over what Big Day of Giving is, who it's put on by, what it's looked like in the past. We're going to be looking at registration steps, so what you need to be doing between now and the deadlines in order to participate in Big Day of Giving. We're going to be looking at navigating your Giving Edge account, so that's going to be where you can edit your profile, see your donors, things like that. For returning organizations, it does look very different now. We have kind of redone the system, so we're going to go over that and make sure everyone's comfortable and knows where things are, so that way you have some familiarity before you start using the profile. We're also going to look at the timeline, so what's going to be happening between now and Big Day of Giving, some important deadlines, important dates. Again, we do have some different ways that we're doing things this year, so make sure that you note the differences in timelines and things like that. We're going to be looking at donations, so what Big Day of Giving is all about, raising funds. And so what that's going to look like, different ways that people can donate on May 7th. We're going to be looking at ways that you can engage your donors through the platform. We're going to look at resources and benefits. So what you can do if you need help during Big Day of Giving, the Big Day of Giving season, and what benefits you get for being a part of Big Day of Giving. We're going to talk about our contact information, and then finally we're going to go over next steps in order to continue on this registration process. So before we start out, we just want to get everyone excited, share hashtag Big Day of Giving 2020 on social media. If you go to our marketing toolkit, both on the front end and the back end, we have all of this exciting material already up there for you to start getting donors excited about your participation on May 7th. So make sure to go check that out. So a little bit about Big Day of Giving. It's put on by the Sacramento Region Community Foundation. The foundation began the Giving Day in 2013 and has continued to bring El Dorado, Placer, Yolo, and Sacramento County together every year since. We work to partner with generous people and businesses to maximize their philanthropy and support Big Day of Giving, as well as other community-based work that we do. If you want to learn more about our services, initiatives, and grant opportunities, please visit sacregcf.org. Some history about Big Day of Giving. Again, we did start in 2013 with our Arts Day of Giving and learned that a lot more organizations were interested in participating. So it was opened up and then we've continued to grow every year. We're really excited about that. If you want to find out more, we have all of our reports to the community from past years up in on our Big Day of Giving website. So if you go to bigdayofgiving.com/about, you will find all of the past reports as well as 2019, which has a lot of great information about how we did last year. So the purpose of Big Day of Giving, the purpose is to raise unrestricted dollars. We know that unrestricted dollars can sometimes be hard to come by for nonprofits. Programmatic funding is great, but we also understand how important that unrestricted dollar is to help keep the lights on. We want to build nonprofit capacity, so that's why we provide trainings and workshops throughout the year to help nonprofits get opportunities to learn skills that apply beyond just Big Day of Giving. One of the purposes is to foster nonprofit collaboration, so that we have events like happy hours and networking events, things like that, where nonprofits can meet each other, get to know others in the region, and we can build a really strong network in our area with cross-sector collaboration. And finally, we want to connect the community with their local nonprofits. All of the nonprofits in the area, they do such great work, and we want to make sure the community knows about your work and is able to connect with your organization. So registration steps. One of the first things before we start registration to look at is eligibility. So in order to be eligible to participate in Big Day of Giving, you do need to be a 501c3 nonprofit that's in good standing with the state and the IRS. You need to have a physical location and serve the residents of Sacramento, El Dorado, Yolo, and/or Placer County. And finally, you need to have 2 years of financials with a 990 or a 990 EZ. The 990N, also known as the postcard, does not qualify as fulfilling this requirement. Fiscal sponsorships are allowed. If you have any questions about your eligibility because of your fiscal sponsor, please let us know. We'd be happy to help you. Organizations that are not eligible to participate, schools, churches, governmental organizations, school affiliates, so PTAs, sports teams, band boosters, anything like that, unfortunately would not be able to participate. We also don't allow private foundations, supporting organizations, or public safety organizations. Again, if you have any questions about your eligibility, please feel free to reach out to us and ask. You can email us at bdog@sacregcf.org. Steps to registration. So the first one is to attend orientation. You all are doing that right now, watching this video, and make sure you complete the quiz afterwards in order to finish that requirement. Step 2 is register online, which we'll be going over. That involves paying your registration fee as well. And then step 3 is to complete your profile. For returning organizations, that's going to mean updating the material that is there already. And for new organizations, that's going to mean creating your Giving Edge profile. So registration. So in order to register, you're going to go to the Big Day of Giving website, go to login and click nonprofit. So that will take you to the Giving Edge nonprofit login page. Even if you are a returning nonprofit and you have a login, you're not going to log into your account. Everyone, whether they are new or returning, will go and click on the Register for Big Day of Giving 2020 button. So you want to read through the eligibility requirements that we covered before and click you're eligible, and then the system will walk you through the process from there. When you do register, please make sure that you read all of the acknowledgements. There is some really important information that we want to make sure that people understand before they register. So please make sure that you read all of those checkboxes when you go to register. So once you have completed that registration, if you already have a Giving Edge profile, once you register and log back into your account, the system will prompt you for your registration fee. If you're new, once your eligibility has been determined and your registration is accepted, you will receive an email with a link to set up your account. And once you do this, it will prompt you for your fee. Our registration fees have not changed from last year. They're a sliding scale based on your operating budget. Registration and paying your registration fees must be done by January 3rd, 2020. So make sure that you keep that deadline in mind. It's very important. We don't take late registration, so make sure that you do that well in advance of January 3rd so you make sure not to miss that deadline. Another important step to registration is to set your team captain. So if you're new and you're creating your account, you'll be able to assign your team captain. If you're returning, make sure that your team captain is current. This is what the new back end of the website is going to look like. So your users for your account will be under My Users, and you can reassign team captains by clicking the reassign button and then assigning who you want to be the current team captain. So a little bit about team captains and what their responsibilities are. The main purpose of team captains is to be the liaison from your organization to the foundation. With hundreds of nonprofits participating, if we are talking to more than one person at one organization, it vastly increases the amount of work that our team has to do, and we only have so much capacity. So we really want to make sure that we streamline that communication. The team captain should stay abreast to all updates and announcements via the BARC, the website, any relevant trainings, and be communicating that to your colleagues, your board, your volunteers, anyone at your organization who should know that information, so that way everyone is in the know. If someone at your organization has a question about Big Day of Giving, they should first ask the team captain, and if the team captain can't answer, then they can email the foundation and ask. Your team captain's responsibility is also to be the leader of your organization's campaign. Obviously, we don't want people to have to do this on their own. We know some people do, but being the person in the know and having all of the trainings and announcements, the team captain should be the one leading the campaign to make sure that they have all of the relevant information that they need. So we're going to go over navigating our Giving Edge accounts. Like I said before, it does look very different this year, so we want to make sure both returners and new nonprofits have an idea of what the profile is going to look like on the back end. So here is what your profile is going to look like from the back end of the website. I'm going to use the foundation's profile as an example. So when you log in, you're going to see several different tabs at the top here. You see dashboard, where we'll have announcements and events listed. You'll see my public profile, which is where you can edit what your profile will have on it. You'll see my donations, which will list all of your past donors who have given to your organization through the website. We have my campaigns, which are peer-to-peer campaigns. So we'll go over those a little bit later, but they're kind of like Facebook fundraisers. For those of you who are returners, you'll remember them. We'll have my users, which again is where you can assign team captains, you can add new users who should have access, and we'll also have the resources. So that will include the nonprofit resources and the mentor search feature, which we'll go over later in the presentation. So in looking at our profiles, we'll want to make sure that all of our tabs are completed with all of the required information before we submit it for approval. If we look on the website here, we can see that we have all of the basic information on the overview tab, operating budget, everything like that, contact information, social media, background information, leadership statements, organization needs and needs statement, as well as physical address and mailing address. If you want to edit this information, you can click Edit Overview Information, and that will take you to being able to edit that information. Once you have clicked the edit button, please know that you do need to complete all required fields before you can save it. So if you're working on your profile and you've gotten some of the sections complete, but you're still working on it and you want to save your progress, the best thing to do is just to put a placeholder. You could even write it as placeholder, just some kind of text in those required fields that have the red asterisk. And then you'll want to go down to the bottom and click Save. If you do not click Save, you will not save any of that work, so make sure that you do that in order to save any progress that you've made. Donation levels, this is optional, but it is a way for you to customize the amounts that donors see when they check out, so you can set it to $15, $50, $100. You can put labels on it, such as $20 buys one of our students a backpack, something like that, and really make that your own. But again, that is optional. Multimedia, again, we are visual creatures, so you want to make sure that you have some compelling visual elements to your profile. We only require one entry, but we recommend people upload definitely more videos or photos that they have available. You can do that by clicking the Add Multimedia button in the corner here, and you can add picture files as well as links to YouTube videos that will then be uploaded to your profile. Programs. This is where you can list all of your active or past programs that you have going on. You're going to click Add Program and include successes, demographics that you cover with this program, budget, details about the program. We do require at least one entry in this field, so you do need to add at least one program in order to submit your account. Management, this is where you can list your organization's leaders. It is required, so make sure that you add your executive director information. You also have the option of adding in a narrative. If you have maybe a different structure to your organization, you can say, you know, our executive director is a co-director, or our organization is all volunteer, but this is our president, things like that, in order to give the donors a more complete picture of your organization. That is new this year, so that would appear under the executive director information on your public profile. You can list any awards that you've received, and then finally you can add senior staff. Awards and senior staff are both optional, but again, we do highly recommend completing the profile as best you can. Governance, this is where you're going to list all of your board information. We do require that you list board chair and your board demographics. You're going to want to make sure that this ethnicity and gender demographics do add up to your total number of board members that you list. And that total number of board members should also be consistent with the board members that you list on your profile plus your board chair, because your board chair would not be listed with the rest of your board members at the bottom there. Financials, this is where you will add in your financial information for your most recent year. If you're a returning organization, for new organizations, we do require to have the 2 most recent years of financials. So you can add that information by clicking this button, and it will tell you where exactly on the forms you can find this information to help guide you when filling this out. If you maybe don't have your most recent 990 or 990 EZ yet, you can let our profile reviewers know that by clicking this orange button here and typing in a message to them. Once you have that document, you can click here and that note will disappear. That note does not show publicly on your profile. It's just a note for our profile reviewers to let them know that you are in the process of getting that most recent document. Finally, we have documents, and this is where you can upload your 2 most recent 990 forms that are required, as well as your IRS letter of determination. All 3 of those documents are required in order to participate, so make sure to add those documents to your profile. New this year, we are requiring only the core pages of 990s or 990 EZs. So that's 12 pages for the 990, 4 pages for the 990 EZ. If you have any schedules added on to the end of your 990s, please delete those before you upload them. We want to do this for security reasons. So also make sure to go through and look at any past 990s you have uploaded and make sure that those schedules aren't there. If they are, you want to make sure you delete those and then re-upload them. Once you have completed all of your edits, you want to go back to this overview tab at the top here and click Submit Updates. If you see this orange button that says Submit Updates, or for new nonprofits, it'll say Submit Profile for Approval, that means that you have edits that have not been submitted for approval yet, so you want to make sure to click Submit Updates. No edits that you have made to your profile will appear on your public profile until you've submitted them for review and they've been approved by our profile reviewers. So you want to make sure that you get that done. We know that the profiles have a lot of information, and it can be a lot of time in order to collect all of that and put it all together in your profile. So we want to make sure people start as soon as possible. That's why we're bringing back again this year the Early Dog Prize. The Early Dog Prize is a prize given to 10 organizations that are drawn at random who will receive $500 for submitting their profile before December 31st. That is their initial Giving Edge profile, complete to the best of their ability by December 31st. The final deadline to submit your initial profile for approval is January 31st, but we really want to encourage people to start early as we know it takes a while and we want to make sure you don't miss that deadline. So anyone who submits their profile before December 31st will be entered in that drawing. So make sure that you are eligible to win that money. Another change that we have this year with the Giving Edge profiles is all of the resources that were originally in our toolkit on the front end, those are now going to be in your nonprofit profile. So when you go to your nonprofit profile and go to resources, you can click on nonprofit resources and that will show you all of the helpful information that we had in the past issue of the toolkit, all in the back end here. So you can either scroll down and look at that, or you can click on a menu item here. So if you want to see past issues of the BARC, you can find those here along with the sign up. You can find any signups for trainings after they've been announced in the BARC. So right now we have our Giving Edge workshop signups up there for those of you who need more help on completing your Giving Edge profile. We have information from past trainings. We have the marketing toolkit, which again has all of those logos, exciting marketing, social media material that you would need. We also have fundraising resources, board engagement resources, all of the worksheets that we had last year, that's all available in that resource tab. One of the most important things that I wanted to point out in the resource tab is the nonprofit user guide. So that has help on everything for Big Day of Giving, from completing your profile to an explanation about matching funds and prizes and how that all works. So definitely make sure that you're going there and checking that out, as it has a lot of helpful information that will guide you in your Big Day of Giving campaign. We also have the sign up for our Facebook learning community. For those of you who aren't a part of it yet, it's all of the nonprofit participants in Big Day of Giving in a group, so you can ask your peers for advice or questions on Big Day of Giving and have that resource available to you. Another thing that we have available in the resource tab is our mentor search. So again, that will allow you to find any of our mentors based on skill. You can, if you're looking for someone who is good at matching funds, you can find that there. If you're looking for someone in the Roseville area, you can find whoever can meet in Roseville. You can also search by operating budget and by their mission category for their nonprofit. These mentors, they are running their own campaigns, so please be conscientious of their time, but those mentors do offer a great resource, so we do recommend checking that out if you are looking for more help with Big Day of Giving. So the timeline of Big Day of Giving, we want to look at all of the important dates that are going to happen between now and the end of May. And make sure to download the calendar, both in the nonprofit resources as well as on the website under Participate for Big Day of Giving. In October, we have our registration that opens on the 15th, so you can now register online. We're also going to be having a series of what we call the basics workshops this year. So that is going to be a series meant for individuals who can benefit from a base level information to help them take full advantage of boot camps. We'll have 2 on Giving Edge, which we have listed there. So that will offer help for people who are struggling to complete their profile and navigate Giving Edge. We will have hands-on help at those workshops. December 31st, remember that is our early dog deadline. January 3rd, that is one of our most important deadlines. That is the deadline to register and pay your registration fee. Please make sure that you keep that on your calendar. Do it early, do it now, because you don't want to miss that deadline. January 7th will be our first happy hour. So you'll see we have a happy hours scheduled throughout the months of January and April. We're going to El Dorado, we're going to Yolo, we're going to Placer, we'll have 2 in Sacramento. Make sure that you check that calendar for when those will be. Our exact locations are TBD, but we do have the counties listed on the calendar there, so make sure that you're checking that out. On January 16th, we'll have our basics training on social media. So that's going to be very basic information, things about what is a hashtag, how to create posts, things of that nature. So if you struggle with that, we highly recommend signing up for that training when we launch the sign up. On January 28th, we'll have our first boot camp. So that is also different this year. In the past, we've had all of our boot camps in the month of February. This year, they will be spread out between January and March. So make sure that you are paying attention to that. All of our boot camp topics are still to be announced. Things that we've had in the past have been things like board engagement, advanced social media use, and defining your mission. So we will announce when those other training topics are available. January 31st is our other really important deadline. That is the deadline to submit your initial Giving Edge profile. Again, that cannot be late. So if you get it in early for that early dog deadline and on December 31st, great. If not, you do have till January 31st, but you do need to make sure that you submit it for approval by then. February, we have more happy hours, more boot camps. We have a Q&A call on the 27th. That is also new this year. In lieu of team captain calls, we will be having Q&A calls, which will be a time for nonprofit participants to ask any of the organizers questions that they have before the big day of giving. Any additional information that we did have in team captain calls, we will be releasing those in recorded videos that will be available in the resources as well as other locations that we'll announce in order to make sure that everyone has the training that they need. And then February 8th, we'll have our final basics workshop that will be on analyzing donor data and creating strategies around that. Again, those basics workshops, they can be for new or returning organizations. They're really for a base level of information in order to take advantage of the more advanced boot camp. So if you have a basic working knowledge of these topics, these trainings might not be for you, but you're welcome to attend if you wish. In March, we'll have another happy hour. We have two of our, again, more advanced boot camps. And then March 27th is the deadline to submit any profile edits that you have on your Giving Edge profile. So once you submit your initial profile, our reviewers will take a look at it and let you know if there are further edits that are needed. March 27th is going to be the final day that you can add those edits in. In April, we'll have two more happy hours as well as our final Q&A call, the last chance for you to ask any questions you have before a big day of giving, how things will go, any questions you have about the website, things like that. On April 20th, schedule giving begins. We allow donors to start scheduling their gifts up to 2 weeks in advance of big day of giving, and then those gifts would be processed on the day of. So if you know anyone who maybe is a little forgetful, might miss the day of big day of giving, might be out of town, really encourage them to give in advance through scheduled giving. That way they can make sure that they can still participate and have their donation count towards big day of giving. On May 6th, that's the last day to add any last minute touches to your profile. Hopefully you have everything done beforehand, but if you have any last minute multimedia that you need to add, you may do so up until the day before at 10 a.m. On May 7th, it's here, big day of giving. It will be a long day. It is 24 hours of giving. So we highly recommend getting lots of rest. It will be a long day. May 8th at noon is the deadline to submit your offline gifts. So starting on May 7th, you can report any offline gifts that you get from donors not made through the website, and you will need to complete doing that by noon the next day. On June 3rd, we'll have our reflection workshop, which we did last year, and we're bringing it back again this year. It's a chance for you to look at how things went on Big Day of Giving and where you can improve your strategy for the coming year. And then in the month of June, we will be reconciling all the payments made through the website and compiling that in one check for your nonprofit of all of the donations made to your organization. And we will have that in the mail no later than June 30th. So donations, this is, what Big Day of Giving is all about. Donations made through the website, we do have a minimum donation size of $15. The website takes all major credit cards for donations, and there is a 5.2% fee that applies to that. If we break that down a little bit, 2.6% of that goes to security. So they go to our web platform to make sure that these payments can take place on a secure platform. 2.1% of that goes to credit card processing fees. So normal transaction fees that occur with every credit card transaction. And finally, 0.5 of that goes to help put on Big Day of Giving and coordinate the event, reconcile payments, and making sure that Big Day of Giving can continue to keep running every year. Donors do have the option of helping offset the cost of those fees by raising their donation slightly. In 2019, we found that 79% of donors did help cover those fees, so they do offer a lot of help in offsetting the cost of that 5.2% fee. As we said before, donors can schedule their gifts beginning 2 weeks in advance of Big Day of Giving, so starting April 20th. So make sure that you are encouraging donors to give. Also, as we mentioned before, you can report any offline gifts that you receive during Big Day of Giving through the website. So on May 7th, you'll be able to report those gifts, anything that you get in cash or checks, and have that count towards your total raised during the day. Finally, fund holders at the Sacramento Region Community Foundation and the YOLO Community Foundation can make gifts through their charitable funds at the foundation. As mentioned before, our system does support several features that can help you engage your donors further on the day of. We know that not all of these features will work for everyone based on the unique functions of their organizations. So we want to encourage nonprofits to really consider what will work for them and their specific organization, as opposed to trying to use all of the features. If you choose to use all of the features, great, but we want to make sure that people aren't overloaded, as we know it does take work to strategize around using these features. One of the features that we provide is the opportunity to have matching funds on your account. We will have trainings out about this later. This is money that you raise in advance of Big Day of Giving in order to match the gifts that your donors make during Big Day of Giving. On our 2019 donor survey, donors listed matching funds as one of the top factors in making the decision to donate. So people have had a lot of success using that. Peer-to-peer campaigns, as we mentioned earlier, this is similar to Facebook fundraisers that people create, but your donors will have the option of creating campaigns for you in order to activate their social network and help you raise money. In the months leading up to Big Day of Giving, we'll release more training videos on how to use this feature. It's still being determined on exactly what the platform will look like, so we'll announce more information as it becomes available. And finally, prizes. As I mentioned earlier, we have our Early Dog Prize for those of you who submit your profile early. We also have prizes on the day of Big Day of Giving to help motivate your donors to give based on certain criteria. Those prizes are still to be announced, so make sure to check back at the beginning of the year for more information on that. We will have our hourly prizes, so that is a way of engaging your donors to give during a certain hour of the day. So finally, resources and benefits to participating in Big Day of Giving. Just a reminder, we do have all of the resources available on the back end this year. So to go to that resource tab and click on nonprofit resources, you'll find all of those training materials, anything like that. Some benefits we offer for participation is access to our boot camps and our basics workshops that we're adding this year. We have our online BDOG trainings that we will have out throughout the coming months. Our Facebook Learning Community, again, that is our Facebook group with all of our nonprofit participants, so you can ask each other questions, get advice specifically for Big Day of Giving, so make sure that you go there and join the community. We have our nonprofit resources. Again, in our resource tab, we have our user guide, our 8-week work plan that will help you map out your marketing plan in the 2 months leading up to Big Day of Giving. And we also have much, much more that we covered earlier. We have our networking happy hour events that we talked about, a chance for you to meet others in the nonprofit community and build that collaboration. We have our Q&A calls, chance for you to ask questions of the coordinators before the day of, that's in February and April. We have our BDOG mentors who will be available in the mentor search feature, and you can reach out to them if you have any questions or want some advice. One of our most important things is we have our BARC newsletter. Make sure that you are signed up for that to receive any updates, any announcements when we release any information. We will announce it via the BARC. So you want to make sure, especially if you're a team captain, that you're signed up for that newsletter. And finally, we have Giving Edge and the BDOG website. So contact information. We are here if you need any help, but because of how many nonprofits that we serve, please note we do not allow phone calls. If you have any questions, we highly recommend that you first check the user guide. It has a lot of helpful information in there in the resource kit. And then if you still have questions, you're more than welcome to reach out to us at bdog@sacregcf.org, and we'll be able to help you with any questions that you have. So next steps. Now that you have completed the online orientation video, you're going to want to make sure that you take that online orientation quiz, which will be in the follow-up email to this video, as well as the web page for this online orientation. If you're a team captain, you're going to want to make sure that you're subscribed to the BARC newsletter, that you've joined the Facebook Learning community, and that you've downloaded the BDOG 2020 calendar so you know all those important dates. When you're ready to register, you want to make sure you visit the nonprofit login page and click that registration button, go through the registration process, and pay your registration fee by January 3rd. Remember that January 3rd deadline is very important. And last but not least, you'll want to make sure that you create and update your Giving Edge profile by that January 31st deadline. Thank you all for participating in our orientation. And if you have any questions, please feel free to email us.